Emeritus professors, deans of the faculties, former deans of the faculties, professors, members of the academic staff, members of the non-academic staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege and honor to be with you to welcome you to the Peradeniya University Day. We are gathered here today to celebrate the 60 years of national, global and universal service of our alma mater, the University of Peradeniya. At the time I enrolled in this university, it was 20 years old buildings, which are relatively new at that time. The teachers were young. Even the smell of cement was still there at some hostels. I grew old with my alma mater, and here we are to celebrate its 60 years of existence. Life is a journey. The path we tread, what we look back on, what we look forward to is up to us. We determine our destination. It has indeed been a long and enriching journey of 60 years. To commemorate this milestone event, ladies and gentlemen, our university has organized a series of activities throughout the week. The Arts Council is offering us a rare opportunity to see 5 of the best dramas of the most venerated personality of our time, Professor Ediri Veera Sarachandra, the father of modern Sri Lankan drama. We launched today the book titled University in Making, which encapsulate the history of this great institute. Your presence is a source of inspiration and encouragement for us, and I extend a warm welcome to you all. On this momentous occasion, as I take you down memory lane, I am reminded of what Winston Churchill once said. I quote, "You know you will never get to end of the journey, but this, so far from discouraging, only adds to the joy and glory of the climb." Unquote. I begin this glorious journey with a historical perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, the idea of a University of Ceylon, the predecessor of University of Peradeniya, was born in minds of the Ceylonese youth then as early as 1899. Until Ceylon University Association was formed in 1906, there had been no progress. Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam, Sir James Pieris, and Sir Marcus Fernando have led the crusade, and finally the University College, the Ceylon University College, was established in January 1921. The memory of these fine men is old as this university and reverberate in the minds of innumerable beneficiaries of the great institute. It was first proposed to build the university in Bullock's Road in Colombo. This idea was largely disputed by politicians. To resolve the matter, Governor Hugh Clifford appointed a committee headed by Justice M.T. Akbar. This committee has proposed to build a unitary and a residential university outside Colombo. A second committee appointed in 1928 proposed a site at Aruppala, not far away from here. Finally, Andreas Snell and Dr. S.C. Paul highlighted the constraints associated with Aruppala site and urged to shift the site to Peradeniya. In 1938, the government acquired the riverside terrace to create the present-day University Park, where we are. Both Justice Akbar and Andreas Snell are remembered by this university for their decisions which made Peradeniya a reality. However, until 1941, nothing has happened. The second principal of the Ceylon University College, Sir Ivor Jennings, stressed the need to move the university to Peradeniya, and then Minister of Education, C.W.W. Kannangara, took the initiative and sealed the process. Honorable sirs, ladies and gentlemen, this valley, the best part of our lives has been spent in, is a garden of Eden of this beautiful country. This great seat of learning has produced globally renowned philosophers, scientists, engineers, economists, poets, artists, etc. They have marked Peradeniya on the world map. The distinguished speakers today will elaborate on the illustrious history of the university. Therefore, I would not embarrass them by encroaching into their areas. I would rather focus on the recent advances we made and our achievements. The vision and the mission of this institute throughout the past 60 years of its existence have not been changed. The students and the faculty may come and go, but the institution's noble aims remain a beacon for others to follow. As we look back through the 60 years, we find the history of the university is one that our country and people can be proud of. It is indeed a source of pride that 80,000 alumni have made their presence felt not only in this country but worldwide. Examples, in particular, are that Peradeniya graduates work at high ranks in health ministries worldwide, world's largest engineering projects, deepest mines in Australia and Africa, offshore petroleum rigs, and even in international space agencies. Our researchers work deep in the deserts in North Africa, Arabia, and in the North Sea, and in subarctic Canadian lakes. Some work in glaciers of Finland, spending weeks in sub-zero temperatures. Our graduates occupy a majority of highest position in ministries, civil service, foreign service, industry, science and technology research establishments. Wherever they go, they do their work to the best satisfaction of their employers. They make their alma mater proud. Ladies and gentlemen, the health service of the Kingdom of Bhutan is manned by graduates of this university. Recently, we have been entrusted with the task of establishment of a medical faculty for the University of Maldives. The world trusts our competence in every aspect of science, technology, medicine, humanities, and social sciences. Currently, we handle 2,000 million Sri Lankan rupees worth of foreign research grants and about 500 billion Sri Lankan rupees worth of local research grants. Almost all the academic members of all 8 faculties are actively engaged in research, and current annual research output is well over 2,000. It is my pleasure to mention the name of Dr. Liyanage Amarakirti, he must be here, of the Department of Sinhala, who won this year's National Literary Prize, Swarna Pustaka. Congratulations, Dr. Liyanage Amarakirti. The research findings of our university have made impact in the society and in the industry. Our social responsibility projects have extended care and comfort to the sick and needy. New inventions attracted world attention, paving way for our students to unprecedented heights. Friends, anniversaries are a time for assessment and for mapping out the course that lie ahead. It is therefore this institution's responsibility as a public funded entity is to scrutinize its record and ascertain where it has failed to reach desired mark or where its goals and objectives need to be reviewed to keep up the changing national and global demands. Peradeniya today can boast of 4 national postgraduate institutes. Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, the first one, the oldest. Postgraduate Institute of Science, the second. The third being the Postgraduate Institute of Social Sciences and Humanities. And the fourth, the latest, Postgraduate School of Medical Sciences. We made proposals for the country's first postgraduate school of engineering and technology, which will be a reality soon, probably next year. In global ranking, in academic excellence, we have been at the top among the national universities throughout the time. The secret behind the success story of Peradeniya Excellence is its devoted academics and the support staff. The deans of the faculties have given the leadership not by preaching but by setting examples. Ladies and gentlemen, what would Peradeniya be without students? Academic excellence along with co-curricular activities has been the hallmark of Peradeniya. As someone rightly said, that the aim of education is the knowledge, not of facts, but the values. We provide platform to our students to showcase their talents and discover new facets of their personality. Our students actively support social issues like environment, literacy, and relief. Their outreach programs include annual literary festival in which school children play a main role, fundraising for scholarships for needy fellow students, libraries for rural schools, water supply schemes for rural dry zone schools, etc. are in their annual agenda. This year, our athletes have shown a remarkable improvement, reaching the second place in Sri Lanka University Games. Our endeavor is also to inculcate leadership qualities in our students. I would be failing in my duty if I do not express my gratitude to those members of Peradeniya family who retired from this institution after having rendered yeoman service, and those who continue to support and inspire us. We will ever remember them with love and gratitude. I am sure you will extend your wholehearted support and cooperation to your alma mater and your place where you worked in the years to come as we march ahead into a new dawn with renewed vigor and hope. My faith in our common future, ladies and gentlemen, is fully justified by the achievements we all made during the past 60 years. My faith in this great place of learning is as great as my faith in the future of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Peradeniya, the higher education paradise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Let me take you back to 1941, when Sir Ivor Jennings, the founder of this university, first visited this site. And this is what he wrote in his autobiography. The first public holiday after my arrival in Ceylon in March 1941 was Good Friday, and I seized the opportunity to pay my first visit to Peradeniya. I went alone and told nobody I was going, lest the newspaper reporters picked up my trail. I had no wish to reopen the battle of sites which had been fought so bitterly for 10 years and more, but if a blunder had been made, it would be my duty to advise reconsideration. I wanted to survey the site calmly and consider the problems at leisure. I drove along the old Galaha road until I reached the plateau which we now call the Convocation Hill. Now it is the Senate. Climbing through the incipient jungle was no easy matter, and I knew not whether there were snakes around. Sitting on a tree stump on the bank of the Mahaveli Ganga, I spread Sir Patrick Abercrombie's site plan before me. I began at last to see the magnificence of the scheme. There was no doubt about it. Mr. D.R. Vijayawardena was right. This could be a great university. Next, I drove up the old Peradeniya road so as to look down on the site. Finally, I crossed Peradeniya bridge, climbed up the railway bridge, and walked alone to the Nanuwaya. It is from that point where the new Gampala road is being driven through that the finest view of the site may be obtained. In a few years' time, the view from Nanuwaya Bridge will be one of the most famous in the world, and it is true. Ladies and gentlemen, next in the agenda today is a presentation by Professor G.H. Peiris, Emeritus Professor G.H. Peiris, on the history of the University of Peradeniya. Before I invite Professor Peiris to make his presentation, I would like all of you to witness a short film that was produced by the government film unit in late 1940s and early 50s.
Accommodating 1,500 students. The Steelworks Senior is for the largest hall of residence accommodating 286 men students. The work is carried out by a Ceylonese firm under the supervision of specialized American engineers. The most up-to-date equipment is being used. Work on the superstructure hall of residence number 8 has begun. The completed building will house 176 women students. The university scheme has been the means to a very great extent of reviving some of the ancient crafts which, through lack of patronage, were fast dying out. All architectural motifs, taken largely from the third period of Sinhalese design, are faithfully produced by these expert craftsmen departmentally and handed to contractors for introduction to the various buildings. The university architect, Mr. Sholiki Alvis, under whose supervision the work is carried out, is examining a motif prepared by one of the craftsmen. These are woodworkers at work on the doorway of the Arts Building. These bungalows under construction are for the use of the staff. This is the Vice-Chancellor's bungalow nearing completion. Meandering paths with little pavilions dotted here and there make the university grounds a source of great attraction to visitors who come from all parts of the island to enjoy the quiet beauty of the scene. Nearly 4,000 visit the site every month, including visitors from abroad. Here we see the foundations for a hall of residence being excavated and the brickwork being laid. The entire scheme gives employment to nearly 8,000 workmen, ranging from highly skilled masons to unskilled laborers. These are some of the students of the Faculty of Agriculture now in residence. Shortly, the students of the Law Faculty will join them. With buildings such as these, located in surroundings of great natural beauty, the University at Peradeniya takes its place as one of the chief ornaments of the country.
මෙහිදී ලංකා විශ්වවිද්‍යාල සංගමේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය වැදගත් විය. මෙම ගමන් මගේදී එවකට අධ්‍යාපන ඇමතිව සිටි CWW කන්නංගර මහතා මෙන්ම මහාමාන්‍ය DS සේනානායක DB ජයතිලක පොන්නම්බලම් අරුණාචලම් ආනන්ද කුමාරස්වාමී DR විජයවර්ධන වැනි දේශමාමකයන්ගේ කැපවීම මෙම ජාතික කර්තව්‍යලා කැපී පෙනුණා. पेरहादनी विश्वविद्यालय प्रथम उपकुलपति वू श्रीमत आईव जेनिंग्सගේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය මෙහිදී කැපී පෙනුණි. 1944 මහා සිකුරාදා දින පේරාදෙණියට විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයක් ගෙන ඒම පිළිබඳව ශ්‍රීමත් ජෙනින්ග්ස් මෙසේ ප්‍රකාශ කරයි. නිසකෙන්ම මෙම ව්‍යාපෘතිය විස්මය දනවන්නකි. හන්තාන කණු පාමුලේදී වන මේ සරසවියත් ඒ වටා පිටාවත් ලොව අන් කිසිදු විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයක නොවනු ඇත. දෙවන ලෝක යුද්ධය ගං වතුර තර්ජන වැනි විවිධ බාධා මැද්දේ පේරාදෙණිය විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ නිල වශයෙන් විවෘත කිරීම 1952 දක්වාම කල්ගත වී බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයේ මහරජින් ලවා විවෘත කිරීමට සැලසුම් කර තිබුණා. 6 වන ජෝර්ජ් රජුගේ අභාවය නිසා මේ නිල උත්සවයටද 1954 දක්වා කල් ගැනීමට සිදුවිය. මේ අනුව 1954 අප්‍රේල් 20 වැනි දින දෙවනි එලිසබෙත් රජුණගේ හා එඩින්බරෝ ආධිපාදයන්ගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් මෙම විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය නිල වශයෙන් විවෘත විය. මේ සියල්ල සිදු වූයේ ප්‍රථම උපකුලපති වූ ශ්‍රීමත් අයිව ජෙනින්ග්ස්ගේ අප්‍රතිහත ධෛර්යය නිසා බව නැවත ප්‍රකාශ කළ යුතුය ඇත. මෙම ගොඩනැගිලි ඉදිකිරීමේදී දේශීය වාස්තු විද්‍යාඥයෙකු වූ සර්ලිද අල්විස් වැන්නවුන්ගේ නිර්මාණාත්මක හැකියාව මෙන්ම විදේශී කාර්මික ඥානයේද ඉවහල් විය.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Gerald Pires. Professor Gerald Pires is a Professor Emeritus of the University of Peradeniya. His career as a university teacher began in 1960, 2 months prior to his being awarded the degree of Bachelor of Arts, the first class honors, by the University of Ceylon. He successfully completed a doctoral degree program by the University of Cambridge, UK in 1965. From 1981 up to the time of his retirement in 2003, he was Professor of Geography at Peradeniya. His extracurricular services include those performed at various times as the Director of Student Welfare, Senior Treasurer of several student bodies, including the Student Council. He has held visiting professorial appointments at the universities of Western Australia, British Columbia, Maryland, Trondheim, and Bowdoin, and has undertaken study tours in the Philippines and the United States, sponsored respectively by the Asia Foundation and the University of Michigan. His consultancy assignments include those conducted for the Ministries of Plan Implementation, Health, Higher Education and Agriculture of Sri Lanka, the Institute of Policy Studies, and the Institute of Conflict Management in Delhi, King Jendal Institute at The Hague, the Ministry of Health in Syria, and the ILO, WHO, and UNICEF. He has collaborated with scholars from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Syria, Netherlands, and the United States in several major research projects. His research writings pertaining to economic and social change, land reform, irrigated agriculture, university education, and ethnic conflict. He has also been associated with the work of the International Center for Ethnic Studies, CANDI, since the mid-1980s for about 20 years, during which he contributed to most of his research projects. Professor Gerald Pieris, we lovingly call him Jerry, has been a prolific writer. One of his latest books, The Political Conflicts in South Asia, Violence in the Pursuit of Freedom and Power, was published by Peradeniya University Press earlier this year. Sir, we are so proud to have you here, and we are eager to listen to your utterances on the history of the University of Peradeniya. Over to you, sir.
Vice Chancellor, Professor Ratna, Deputy Vice Chancellor Shanthe Nayaka, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I must thank the Vice Chancellor and the Deputy Vice Chancellor for the great honor I have of addressing you today, an audience that includes a large part of the cream of the intellectual community of this country. My task is a daunting one when I look at the faces in front of me, the people who are intimately associated with building up Peradeniya for what it is today, to what it is today. Now, Vice Chancellor, the 60th anniversary could be a solemn occasion, and it could be commemorated with a solemn ceremony, but I rather think that it's an occasion for rejoicing, celebration. So in my history, if I venture into the lighter side of the history of this university, I go in that spirit that we should not confine ourselves to being excessively solemn on a joyous occasion such as this. Now, the topic that, or before that, there is something that I must say. It's the Deputy Vice Chancellor here, Shanthe Nayaka, who is largely instrumental of for my being here, no doubt with the consent of the Vice Chancellor. Now, Professor Shanthe Nayaka has listened to me probably hundreds of times. So he's selecting me for this presentation must surely be because he thought that the old man might have something interesting to say. There is no other reason why I should be picked to